Pablo Cesar Cano stops Jorge Linares in the first round. Or Jorge Linares, I think that came out wrong. Yeah, so what do I want to say about this fight? Not a lot to say. Linares was down within the first 20 seconds, and he was down a further two times. The stoppage came with about 10 seconds to go in the first round. Some could say maybe you could let him see out the round. His legs were all over the place, and at the end of the day, the right was on the wall pretty much from when they stood together in the ring. Jorge Linares has always been chinny. Jorge Linares, he's a very, very good fighter. He's a world level fighter. I watched this fight on Sky, and Sky were doing what they normally do with Jorge Linares and, hyping him up to be this, amazing world beater. Look, Linares is a very good fighter, but he's not as good as Sky make him out to be. He just keeps beating matchroom fighters, which is why Sky need to justify it. But when these two guys stood across the ring from one another and they were getting their instructions from the referee, you could see it straight away how much bigger Cesar Canos was to Linares. I mean, it looked like a lightweight versus a welterweight, which we're technically going to get with Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence in the coming weeks. But the size difference looked insane. Linares, while he is quite big for a lightweight, he's very, very small for a light welterweight. And it was apparent he was just overwhelmed. It's as simple as that. He was just overwhelmed by a much, much, much bigger guy. And this guy, Pablo Cesar Canos, he has decent punching power. Linares has never had a particularly good chin. And the right was kind of on the wall. So he went down in the first 20 seconds, as I said, and he was down a further two times. Referee waved it off, quite rightly, I think. And Linares, I mean, where does he go from here? There was talk of him signing with a top rank of Bob Arum and, possibly getting the Lomachenko rematch. It'd be interesting to see what he wants to do now, because that defeat now could take a lot out of Linares. It's sad in a way because he is a good fighter, and I think he's just done what a lot of fighters do, and he's just gone up one weight division too much. I think he's at a point now where these guys are just too big for him, and if he wants to win a world title again, he needs to drop back down to lightweight, which is a division that's quite hard. I mean, the champions in that division, if Garcia stays around, you've got Lomachenko, who I think would probably beat Linares easier this time if they did fight again, taking into consideration if he keeps on his career. And who else? You've got Richard Comey versus, I forget the guy. Are you going for Richard Comey in that fight? And he's a decent fighter too. So yeah, it's a stacked division. Ray Beltran knocking around. Might be a winnable fight for Linares, but at this stage in Linares' career, he needs to, I think, seriously consider hanging them up, because his punch resistance has never been great. And, a defeat like that, it could take a little bit away and drop him back down to lightweight, because he is quite a big lightweight. So it's obviously going to take a little bit out of him, going back down to lightweight. But I think if he wants to have another couple of paydays, he needs to drop back down to lightweight and, sharpen up that defense, because, he was caught within the first 20 seconds with a little overhand right, and, the right was on the wall from then. So those are my thoughts on this. Anyway, you leave yours down below. And it's ironic, isn't it? We had 3 fights on this card. We had 2 very premature stoppages, and then a first round knockout, or first round stoppage, which was not premature. So it was an interesting card. But those are my thoughts on this, and feel free to leave yours down below. As always, feel free. Always love hearing what you have to say, and I'll talk to you after.